Hello, welcome to Mass Reflect. I'm one of your hosts, Rob.
And I'm your other host, B.
And this is a podcast where we are going back through one of our favorite video game series from when we were younger, Mass Effect. We're taking the opportunity of its new Legendary Edition release, I believe is what the Legendary Edition is the name of it.
It is.
I don't know. We haven't played it yet because here's the thing. This is our episode 0 where we are going to discuss our history of playing Mass Effect. Our intention is to replay the series and not really like reevaluate it on a quality, aspect because all video games are kind of their time, and I'm sure this series will be that way too. But we wanted to go over and ask ourselves, what is the game trying to say? What is its message? What are its influences? More just trying to go with a deep dive on Mass Effect.
Yeah, and I would say a deep dive that's perhaps in some ways interested in things that are kind of niche and weird for a regular look back at Mass Effect.
Totally, yeah. We're not going to talk about as much like, damn, like think about how this changed shooters or something like that.
There was an article. Sorry. Yeah, no, we won't be talking about stuff like that. But we will be talking about.
I'm curious about this article, but please continue.
Yeah, we will be talking about. I guess kind of the, for lack of a better term, politics of Mass Effect.
Yes.
The unintentional, incidental politics of Mass Effect and its universe, and sort of how that relates to both its current context and I think how we're gonna remember this game series, because that's like what's really exciting about this Legendary Edition, right? It's they're releasing a game that I'm like, are you sure you should re-release it now that I'm thinking back?
Well, it's funny because like this spawned from us having a conversation where we talked about a lot of the stuff, and it's a game series that I adored, and at the time felt like very much in the vein of science fiction, like, oh, this has a message, this is important. But
Absolutely.
It's a game that when I think back on, and I think partly this is kind of tied to the way it got developed and the fact that mid-series it switched writers, I'm not always certain I can't really tell you from memory what Mass Effect was trying to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a side effect of it being a game where you get to choose what happens, But I just don't know. I'm curious, and that's what I'd like to. That's why we are doing this. Is a way to really deep dive on this.
It's also going to just be a really great opportunity to get back deep into a style of shooter that I guess is making a comeback. The cover shooter.
Is the cover shooter making a comeback?
Yeah, they just
feel
released like Outriders, which is all that. There's been like Gears of War is getting its own thing going again. I don't know. It feels like it's
Gears
back in a low-key way.
Yeah, I feel like Gears of War never went away, though. But I
it
guess
did,
Outriders is a good point.
But yeah, like Outriders, a game I've played because there was a demo.
Yeah, I never played it.
Oh,
people are really into it, though.
Are they?
I think it's just pandemic, like, it came out at the right time sort of thing. Like, it came out when there were no other games coming out. This has nothing to do with Mass Effect.
No.
Except it does, because Mass Effect... I know we said we wouldn't talk about, like, the influence on shooters, but you can draw a line from Mass Effect being a shooter that incorporated RPGs to games like Outriders. Like, the real influence of Mass Effect ends up being in games like that.
Yeah, I would actually even say Outriders is kind of the only game I can think of from the past 5 years that I would say Mass Effect had a profound influence on.
Yeah, that's true. I would have. Yeah, no, that's true. Because I wouldn't say that about Destiny, really.
No, because that's clearly like it's a similar interpolation of like shooter elements and RPG elements, but it's coming from the shooter side, and it's the Halo formula of shooter, which I usually like more until it's Destiny, and then I'm like,
Well, it also like I think that game takes more from Diablo, frankly.
Oh yeah.
Not just in like not just in how it does loot and stuff like that.
I guess whenever I think about loot in Mass Effect, I'm thinking about the first game, which is also telling. But
Yeah. Yeah, well,
But
it's
yeah.
funny because it's something we're gonna. I'm curious about. Like, one thing I remember is the inventory system in the first Mass Effect basically being the worst thing ever. I'm curious how that will change, and I know that they've like changed the gameplay of some of them as they've continued. So I don't know if that's going to be something where the inventory is more like later games where there is no inventory. Like, this is a series that started out
Yeah.
with inventory and then moved away from it as the series progressed.
yeah, it's even funnier than that to me though, because like they moved away from it, and then like with every BioWare game, because this happened with Dragon Age 2, everyone complained, and so they were like, we're actually going to incorporate a lot of the elements back, but in a diluted way,
Yeah.
which is always fun.
Yep. No, it's later. I mean, God, this is a series that's crazy to me because like there's a point where like after Mass Effect 2, I considered this the best video game series ever, and then I was somebody who did not enjoy Mass Effect 3, and not just because of like the ending of it.
Yeah.
I just did not care for it as a whole experience, and I mean, I'm excited to revisit that part too. You know.
I'm very excited, especially because like the last time I even tried to play Mass Effect 3, I remember a reason I disliked it, which is it just chugged on a PS3.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know how
remember
it was on
running
Xbox.
fine on the 360, but I
Yeah.
also, like, it's weird. I definitely don't remember it being like a great gameplay experience that way. So this is a
Yeah.
question I have: which version of Mass Effect Legendary Edition are you gonna get?
Oh, I already bought the PlayStation 4. It's installed. Don't worry about that. That was always going to be the one I was going to buy.
I'm curious which one. I guess the real question I had was which one should I get? Am I just gonna
Oh, yes.
get it for the PlayStation 4 and not have to worry about it a little bit? I mean, you never know, right? With any version of something, there can always be graphical issues. But like,
Yeah.
at least when you buy something on a PS4, you kind of know what you're getting, even if it's not as good. Or should I be the one to play this on the PC? I don't own an Xbox, otherwise I would 100% buy it there because I was an Xbox 360 owner, and
shit.
the first Mass Effect was published by Microsoft, if my memory serves.
Yes, it was. It was. Well, actually, yeah, this might actually be a good time to get into this article, which I don't want to get into too much, but
We are gonna do research as we go
Yes.
through as well.
absolutely, mostly during the podcast. So
Yeah, badly.
I have a loud keyboard. I'm excited. I got it especially for this podcast.
I will have to edit those out. It'll add so much editing time.
I know.
To my life.
It's gonna be the best.
Everyone's gonna love it. You know what
Yeah.
they say? Research is really good for audio medium like podcasting.
Absolutely. On the spot research during podcasts is everyone's favorite part. I especially love when someone pulls up Wikipedia and just starts reading from it.
Yes. Oh God, I love that.
I do too.
I couldn't do this myself. No. It's great.
Look, yeah, no. I say that as someone who definitely has and will do that. Like,
Yeah, we're gonna look. We are not particularly professional. We did a couple of, not to peek behind the curtain too much. We did a couple of test runs of this podcast playing other games, and they did not go super great. So we're really just kind of learning as we go along.
yeah, I would say they went theoretically fine. The main issue was a boring game.
Yeah, I think
We
that's
should
kind of
bleep
what.
out what I said though, so no one knows the name.
Yeah. No, definitely. That was definitely a thing. I felt bad that we never wrapped that up, but every time I sat down to finish that game, I was like, I don't think I can do this, and
Yeah.
stopped. I think I did it 3 times, and was like, nope, we're done here.
Yeah. So this is the sentence that like really stuck out at me. It's this is from Gaming Bolt, an article entitled "Mass Effect Legendary Edition might be a megaton release despite being a remaster," which I don't even really disagree with.
I mean, I think that there could be a lot of potential in releasing a new, like, re-releasing the Mass Effect trilogy, right? Because in a lot of ways, like, Mass Effect we talk about it like going from being more of an RPG to more of a shooter, but it is I think of Mass Effect in a lot of ways as the last prestige RPG.
Oh, absolutely. Which is why I find this sentence so funny. Mass Effect's influence on adventure games, RPGs, and science fiction generally can be seen far and wide. And like I read that, and I had to stop because if you'd asked me in like 2000, probably not 7, but like 10, 12 to 12, I would have said like, yeah, no, Mass Effect's going to be one of those things that just everyone will remember and like eventually. Because there'll be like some kind of dumb movie. It'll enter popular consciousness, and if it doesn't, it'll like always be a video game franchise. I really would have thought that would be the case, and that would have influence. And
I do know that it does though, because I know like James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which seem to be like are the like in a world where we don't have science fiction films anymore. Guardians of the Galaxy might be one of the most prominent non-Star Wars like science fiction film series right now.
Yeah,
he's a huge Mass Effect fan, so I definitely think that like,
and I can I guess see some of that in locations in Guardians, but
not in storytelling style at all. You know,
no. And honestly, like the things that he takes are the things that I prefer about Mass Effect. It's like the grittier, grittier, like almost westerny parts that Mass Effect 2 does.
I was gonna say his work feels more like Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, I'm just gonna say this now. In my memory, and I don't think my feelings are gonna change. Mass Effect 2 is the best Mass Effect. I know some people don't like the ending. I don't think the story is particularly great, but just for setting and tone and like the world of Mass Effect 2 was so like for me that was like where the world was at its most interesting, and like the gameplay was much better than the first game. So I just love Mass Effect 2.
I mean, I used to really care about the story for things. I don't anymore, but I care more about the world. So I'm very excited to revisit Mass Effect 2 because I remember, being the most lived in of those games. With the exception of the Citadel, which I do remember being disappointing compared to 1, because that was the only location in 1 that had like any personality.
Yeah, because it was the one place where people lived, and then when you went, it was like a much more muted area when you went back to it in Mass Effect 2. But I think that was also because there were so many other areas that you could wander around in Mass Effect 2.
Oh, totally.
There was Ilum and Omega, you know.
There was just a part of me where I was like, why didn't you import the level from 1? I wouldn't have mind seeing reused assets.
Yeah. I remember kind of thinking that, but I also think it's interesting because the parts of the Citadel you see are different parts than the first game, right? In the first game, we're probably going to have more to say on this as we go on, but the point of this episode 0 is to get some of this, to discuss what we remember. Like, the first game, you are only seeing, like, high society Citadel. You know, you go to the wards, but they're, like, a smaller part. And then, like, Mass Effect 2, you don't go to the high society at all. You're kind of trying to lay low a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you're trying to lay low by being part of an intergalactic human supremacist terrorist group, while also in a lot of the storylines still being a specter, aka a spook. It's fun.
Yeah. No. Mass Effect is fun.
And then in 3, you're neither of those things. Oh, sorry. No, you're just a Marine. You're just a Marine.
Mass Effect 3 is just spiked my mic. I got so upset. So funny. Mass Effect 3 is going to be crazy. I am sad that it will probably be 6 months before we can touch it. You know.
Yep. But I was thinking about that too.
But that's we are not touching any of these games until we get to them for the podcast. These are live reactions, you know.
Yep, absolutely. Which is why this research might be shoddy, guys.
It's not gonna be it's gonna be a lot, and so you know we're also I don't know we're just two friends wanting to chat a game series we love. That's I think what comes down to it, and maybe question why we love it. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I fully expect to not love Mass Effect by the end of this.
I think I will still love Mass Effect by the end of this. I think I will have a different view on it in a lot of ways, but I think the reasons why I love Mass Effect will always will be a lot for I think like the one thing we should make clear is like and why we're not going to talk too much about like the quality of the actual game is like for the like time it is amazing. You know, the visuals, despite the first game having some weird hiccups, were amazing for the time. The voice acting is top notch. Like the craft of Mass Effect is excellent, you know.
Yes.
It is some of the writing that I feel like we have to sort of discuss and dive into.
It is,
and the way that
maybe a lot of the writing,
and also the way that it tells a story through choice and the topics it decides to explore. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Question. I'm curious. I genuinely want to know, like, what is Mass Effect trying to say at the end of the day? We're gonna have a wrap-up episode where we just say definitively, no other, you know, we're gonna have the one good view on it.
Absolutely.
That'll stand the test of time.
That is the only promise that I'm going to make to you guys right here, right now. We have the real review of Mass Effect, and you need to wait, let's say 6 months to a year to get it all.
It is definitely going to be closer to a year. Looking at the schedule, I think we even forgot to include some of the DLC from the first game, so I have to readjust that schedule. Yeah.
But don't worry, there's only one DLC that's included because the other one's game file was corrupted, and it also sounds like that one was super boring.
It was the worst DLC. I remember when that DLC... I didn't play the second DLC because the first DLC was so dull when it came out.
Which one was the first one? Was it Bring Down the Sky or the weird...
No, it was the weird, like, wave. It was the weird, like, survival mode, you know, arena thing. And then Bring Down the Sky was the second one with narrative stuff. Maybe I'm misremembering that. I actually don't recall too well.
I don't know either, but it's either way. It's kind of... I
feel like the DLC of the later games... Well, I mean, I never played the DLC for Mass Effect 3 because I was so burnt after... Also, most of it came out long after I'd finished Mass Effect 3 and I just wasn't going to replay the entire game. So, like, a lot of that stuff I've never seen the Leviathan or the Citadel stuff, which people swear by.
Yeah, people do swear by that stuff.
But I've never seen it. So I've never seen the new ending stuff. I've only seen the ending that was at launch. The only DLC I played was the one that was the Promethean character who came out at launch. And it's crazy that reviewers of that game didn't get that character. It's crazy that character's DLC. That character is so...
That character's not DLC.
So intrinsic to where that story goes, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
By which I mean, that character is too essential.
Yeah. No. It's crazy. Mass Effect, crazy. This is gonna be wild.
Yeah, it's gonna be especially... fuck, I'm so excited to talk about specifically Mass Effect 3, actually.
Yep, but we're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, it's... so excited. But yeah, so 2007 is when the first game came out, and I don't know who's gonna listen to this. I'm assuming people like our age.
I would imagine so. I hope so. I hope people listen to this.
I wanted to briefly set the scene for 2007. Also, we should go through with our full description of our Mass Effect experience.
Yeah.
Because I think that's interesting, like, how we experienced it.
Oh, gladly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's set the stage for 2007, then we'll talk about our personal stuff.
Yeah, 2007. Some hit songs. Irreplaceable by Beyonce. Give It To Me by Timbaland. Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne. Glamorous by Fergie. These are, like, literally some of the top songs. I don't remember any goddamn one of them.
I didn't listen to
Except
this sort of... I listened to, like, indie rock around this time, mostly.
Oh my god! Okay, no, this was not one of the... This was one of the top hits, but it's the only one that I actually do remember, which is Soulja Boy.
I remember Soulja Boy. Wow. All right. That's musically, that's where we're at. 2007. Time for Soulja Boy.
I mean, I hate to say it, that is what a lot of music sounded like.
Famous video game fan, Soldier Boy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Soldier Boy. Crank that.
Yeah, crank it, Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. Rappers referring themselves as soldiers because it was 2007, so we were in the height of the Forever War. And
Yeah, we were.
what's better
yeah.
than a soldier in American culture at this point?
It's
Nothing.
yeah. We were actually
They
at
are
that fun part
sacrosanct.
where like a lot of people had turned against the war, but also we still had like all of the detritus of supporting it.
Yes, it was.
So-
It was the time where you could say what you want about the war, but you gotta support the troops.
Yeah, which is when like this is also the time when like the movie Shooter came out, which I think is very representative because that's a movie that's like it's about a good troop but a corrupt system. Did you see the movie Shooter? It wasn't very good.
I remember people being obsessed with this movie.
Yeah.
This was the Clive Owens one?
No, it's Mark Wahlberg, I think. My
maybe
brother
that's
had owned it. Yeah, it's Mark Wahlberg.
This is the time like where a lot of our heroes are soldiers or cops in media. I mean, the game we're about to play is you playing a soldier who becomes a spy
CIA
/ space
agent.
cop. Yeah,
Yeah.
CIA agent.
Who becomes a CIA agent, but they frame it like a space cop. It's like, no, you're a space cop. You're gonna do space cop things. Oh, who's the villain? Oh, he's also a space cop. So what he's doing is illegal? I didn't
No.
say that.
We just don't like it. If he was
Yeah.
doing this for us, it'd be fine.
If he had like convinced us that no, we need to be assimilated by the Reapers, we would actually be helping him.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that was maybe something we should cut because I don't know if we've explained any of that.
No, we have not. Well, to be fair, we are going at like we have acknowledged that we have memories of this game, and that's what we're going off of right now. I
this is
thought
fair.
of a deeper joke that I'm waiting until we actually play the game
Yes.
to deliver because I want to see if I can maybe get away with it. I think now might not be the time for this joke. So
Yeah.
a little
Yes.
peek behind the curtains.
Excellent. Yeah, and sometimes in movies it's like Pirates of the Caribbean, Order of the Phoenix, which I could have said like Phoenix, but I said Phoenix for no reason.
Yeah. The
Grindhouse.
the worst Harry Potter book got adapted into a movie this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Grindhouse movies came out, which is
God. Other movies
Yeah.
people were obsessed with at this
another
time.
another movie that I didn't care for. What's some comedies? Oh, Hot Fuzz is like on the good end of comedies back then.
Love that movie. at the
Yeah,
time.
and then on the
sure it's
negative
still
end is Epic Movie. Oh my god.
Oh God, I saw that. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't. I avoided that. Another movie that came out this year is for wide release at least was 300.
God, I didn't like that movie at all, and people loved it at the time.
Yeah, people
I don't know
loved
if it
it.
was because I was in high school. Like maybe that's a hey, you had to have been in high school for people to loved it, and if you wanted people to be critical of it, you know, you had to be an adult. But in high school, 2007, 300 reigned supreme.
Yeah, 300 was the movie.
Yeah. That was the big blockbuster of 2007.
Absolutely.
I don't think
Oh.
anything else you're gonna find on a list matches it.
I mean, Born Ultimatum in my mind also matches it, which is another like troop done wrong movie.
Yeah, that's true. I never liked the Bourne movies though, so I don't feel
No.
the you know.
No, that's
This
fair.
2007, I don't remember many great movies from personally.
I quite like some of the ones from the later part of the year. There's 310 to Yuma, which is a
That's a great
decent
movie.
western
Yeah.
if you like that.
I
Assassination
feel
of
like,
Jesse. Oh, sorry.
I feel like 310 to Yuma remake often gets disparaged, but I enjoyed it.
No,
Um,
I do not think it's bad. You know, your mileage on westerns will vary, but if you like them, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Eastern Promises, which I like.
I watched that with my brother and my sister, and
Yeah.
it was a lot. I think maybe if I was older or when I'd seen it, I would have liked it more. I do think he's one of my favorite directors, but it was also my first Cronenberg film.
Yeah. This movie also had both Shoot 'em Up and Smoking Aces. I'm sorry that I'm now just reading
Shoot 'em
these,
Up was
but
the one I was thinking about that people also adored.
Yes.
More so even than Shooter. Damn.
Shoot 'em Up was... Yes.
I think even more importantly than movies, though, were the video games that came out this year, too.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to say the last three movies. Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Good year for Westerns.
Yeah.
There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men, which also kind of Westerns. Yeah,
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of Westerns.
Yeah, a lot of Westerns. It was a big year for it. There was a lot of nostalgia. Everyone was looking towards the past because the present was so complicated. There were these complicated issues. Like, yes, we are, embedded in wars that are seemingly without end, but, but they're so complicated. Let's just think about the past.
Yeah, and if you were going to think about the future, you are either making Meet the Robinsons or Southland Tales.
Southland Tales. I never.
Yeah,
saw
man.
That. Yeah, but I remember that being a big deal.
It was. It was the Donnie Darko guy.
Yeah, that's true.
It was his second movie, and again, your mileage will vary.
There are also a lot of video games that came out this year. Most notably, there is BioShock. Have you played that game recently?
Yeah, no, I played that game recently.
Yeah, maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway, we definitely didn't record episodes about
BioShock ever again.
Yeah, I'm good. Jesus, we have to bleep that too. Or cut that part out.
No. I want to keep it.
There was BioShock. There was Halo 3. There was the Orange Box came out, which featured the last Half-Life game until Half-Life Alyx. Team Fortress 2 and Portal.
Yeah, that's how long ago this was, Zoomers. There was a Half-Life game.
Yeah. Half-Life was a thing that people cared about, Zoomers.
Half-Life was a thing people still cared about.
Apparently, Guitar Hero 2 came out this year. That makes sense. I said apparently, but that actually makes a lot of sense now that I think back on time and how that works. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare changed before there was Fortnite. There was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Zoomers. That was the Fortnite of 2007.
It was. It was. You know what? I'm actually going to definitively say it was probably much worse than Fortnite. I remember being called a lot of just insane things.
Oh, like in how people were obsessed with it?
Yes.
That's
yes,
fair.
in how people were obsessed with it, and the vituperative nature of people's rage at you while playing it. Maybe that was just
Oh,
my brother.
God. No,
Yeah.
that is true. I didn't understand what you were getting at there. I remember one time I was playing like a 1v1 match and had the advantage, and this guy just started swearing the most horrible things at me. I didn't play that game with a headset.
Yeah, no.
It was
no, neither did I, so
like,
sometimes sounds would just come out of the TV.
TV, yeah. I was playing it on my PlayStation 3 for something, because my 360 was broken in those days. It was red ranked. Red ranked. Another thing you just won't understand, Zoomers. Just don't understand.
I
Uncharted
really
1 came out in
of
2007. Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I really want to get a lot of angry letters from Zoomers being like, we're not chill.
Morons.
Like,
we can use
chill
Wikipedia too, assholes. That's yes. I imagine Zoomers. The Zoomers I know are pretty chill and pretty funny.
I know.
Also, one of the Zoomers I know is obsessed with Call of Duty, so
Yeah, Zoomers, Call of Duty, this game series that's still incredibly
that you probably
popular.
grew up with, yeah.
Yeah, that you just think of as like, yeah, that's what a shooter is.
Yeah. Halo what? Uncharted 1 came out 2007.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a great year for video games.
Assassin's Creed came out. Yeah, fuck, this is a good year for video games.
Yep. God of War 2 apparently came out in 2007.
Oh yeah, that checks.
Yeah, but I guess because that would be before the PlayStation 3.
Yep.
No, it wouldn't be. That was after the PlayStation 3.
It was after the PlayStation 3, but it was in that window where, also, I think Persona 4 came out, where there was still, PS2 games that had just been way too long in development, and, they had committed to PS2 when the PS3 was still in limbo.
Totally.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think with God of War 2, it was especially like, we can get more power out of the PS3 and this will sell probably some more things. And then
So,
with
yeah.
Persona, they were just like, ugh.
what for you, how did you come across Mass Effect? Because my story is a little bit more long-winded, or I don't know, but I'm kind of curious, like, what was your exposure to Mass Effect?
So Mass Effect was actually a game series I had very little interest in, initially. But my little brother had a lot of interest in it. And so he bought it and, like, played through it, and I think it was a few months until I actually played it, but then, yeah, I eventually beat it. In case anyone's wondering, for those of you who are old hands, I went Paragon every time. Because I was a huge dork, and also I really... Sorry, when I decided to start a Paragon playthrough, I was like, I'll play this as a female character, and then on Renegade, it was like, I'll play this as a male character, and, I don't like playing male characters, so...
I played Renegade. I'm gonna get into how I knew about Mass Effect and what my, experience with it was, but I played Renegade because I was a cool kid, so I was mostly wearing sunglasses and on the back of my motorcycle.
Absolutely.
While I was playing through Mass Effect 1. So, yes, but for me, none of that's true, Zoomers. I know Zoomers don't understand irony, but us millennials used to be quite into it. Hey, Zoomers, have you heard of this thing? Irony?
It's the water it's the oxygen that you breathe on the internet. I assume you've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Something Awful forums? No? What's Reddit?
Sorry. No, it's fine. I was laughing. My interest in Mass Effect started, as a kid, I only knew one type of RPG. What I thought RPG was just Final Fantasy. I had no idea about what Dungeons and Dragons was at the time, or anything, or what a Western RPG was. I was vaguely aware of Fallout, didn't really know what it was. Until I, being a lifelong Star Wars fan, decided to play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1, and fell head over heels in love with it. Played it a million times, one of my favorite video games. I somehow got, at one point, because of a glitch on my Xbox, I got a save file where the hour count was something like 5 million hours or something. I don't know, something wild. Maybe even more than that, like just wild. So somewhere on my old Xbox in my basement is a 17 years put in time on a save file of Knights of the Old Republic, because why would you delete that when such an amazing glitch happens?
No reason.
I played it, I played the Xbox version a ton, and then at some point I got the PC version and just played that for years with mods. There's just years where I just obsessively replayed Knights of the Old Republic. So I love Knights of the Old Republic, and that was my introduction to the Western RPG. From there, I started playing Dungeons & Dragons, all that stuff. So when Mass Effect was first announced, I was aware of it and basically followed its release obsessively for years until it came out. I bought it. I think it came out during my Thanksgiving break, so I literally just sat down and played through it in 2 days or something. Again, playing through Renegade on the back of my motorcycle with sunglasses on. And a skateboard. I was skateboarding on the motorcycle.
Of course. That's how you skateboarded back then.
Yeah, in 2007, we would all skateboard on motorcycles.
That's why I couldn't skateboard. I could never get a motorcycle license.
No, it was hard. Yeah, but it was awesome. And and played through it and fell in love with the series afterwards. So yeah, that was basically, and at that time, that was also, I was also damn, way into Halo, so I was playing Halo 3 a lot, loved Half-Life, so I was playing the Half-Life series. It was just a great time. Loved Portal when it came out. Just a great time for video games.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just played a lot of. I played Mass Effect a lot. I've played this game. I have not played it in a long, long time, but I played Mass Effect multiple times.
Oh, so did I. I played through it every time, and every time made the same goddamn choices. Always being like, I'm gonna make different choices this time. Nope, no, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what choices you make now that you have some vision on the past. You know, now that you're like, I'm older, I'm more conservative than I used to be. So maybe my choices in Mass Effect are different. I have more money now, so I've naturally progressed towards a more conservative mindset, like older people always told me I would. That is definitely where I'm at in 2021.
That's what happened. That's what happened in 2020. Everyone got rich when oil cost no money, and we all bought a lot of it, right?
Yep, we're all super rich now.
We are all super rich. Oil futures bought this microphone.
I mean, that actually probably would have. No, we shouldn't get into current events. Anyway,
I guess then, what was your experience with How did you experience Mass Effect as a sci-fi story? We've gotten at that a little bit, but contemporaneously, the best you can recall, what were your thoughts in relation to?
That's a great question because I think for me, what made Mass Effect so special is I was, not just a lifelong Star Wars fan, but also a just lifelong science fiction fan. Would read pretty much any science fiction novel I can get my hands on. Watched Star Trek all the time. This is around the age, a couple years before I'd started watching Star Trek, so I was kind of doing that,
Yeah.
This to me was the time of my life where science fiction mattered the most, I mean, it still does for me, obviously, but even I just can't read the way I used to, and stuff like that. This is where I just had infinite energy for it.
Yeah.
And to me, Mass Effect was the series that was going to revolutionize video game storytelling. And I don't I think it felt progressive and important in the way that science fiction did because it tackled huge issues. But again, I can't really tell you what I thought it was maybe trying to say,
Yeah.
And I think even at the time it was more that it tackled these issues rather than having a specific viewpoint on them that made me interested,
Yeah, I remember just being impressed that there was a game where I was given the degree of choices, especially in the first Mass Effect. It seemed like I was getting.
Yes.
That's an important statement.
When the second game came out, it had been a couple years, so I'd kind of clued a little bit, but I was still excited. So I remember going to the midnight release of Mass Effect 2 and stuff and buying it. And then taking it home and skipping school the next day to play through it.
Yeah. And Mass Effect, it didn't quite come out in 2009, but 2009 was
another great year for video games.
Another great year for video games, and another big year for BioWare. So it came out in January of 2010, so
I was going to say.
lumping it in with
that's fair.
2009.
No, I remember distinctly when it came out, again, for the aforementioned reasons.
Of course.
I don't have a great... it's maybe one of my most vivid memories of being a teenager was being in the car at midnight after having picked up my copy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I actually bought and played this first for the PlayStation 3. I think I didn't play it on the Xbox, but my brother got it on Xbox. At this point, I finally acquired a PlayStation 3 to buy Demon's Souls.
Interestingly, when I played Mass Effect 2, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I continued my Renegade character, but I feel like I must have, and I just must have gone Paragon. Or no, or maybe I just played through Renegade. I don't actually remember playing through it. I think I replayed Mass Effect 2 more frequently. Yeah. And then a couple months after buying it, my hard drive died on my 360, so I had to replace it. And because I was like, oh, Mass Effect 3 is going to come out eventually, I've lost my Mass Effect save. I have to replay through the Mass Effect games. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely at some point replayed it like with a new save. So my original save that I played back in 2007 was not the save I ended up bringing into Mass Effect 3. But not because, and for some people couldn't do it because like their game glitched out when Mass Effect 3 came out. And it wouldn't carry over the saves for some reason. But for me it was just because I'd lost that save and had to replay the games.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I loved Mass Effect. And Mass Effect 2 is like very different. I don't
Yes.
if I had any read on Mass Effect 1, I feel like I had even less of one on Mass Effect 2. But it was such a great setting and world, and like again, the choices felt a lot more personal as you made them. They felt a little more connected to the characters from my memory of it, you know.
Yeah.
So I felt like my experience of playing Mass Effect 2 was just like I was even more over the moon of it. Of course, it also felt better as a shooter. So
A
that
lot
helped.
better as a shooter.
And yeah,
Yeah, so I got it on. I didn't continue my save either because I couldn't. And for a while, you just couldn't play Mass Effect 1 on the PlayStation 3. So instead, they had like this weird interactive comic where you got to
Yes, I
make
remember
the
this.
same choices. And this eventually just became like a feature that they allowed you to like have in I think Mass Effect 3 that would like
Yeah.
cover both of the games.
I think because your save could get
Yeah.
your save might not carry over when that game first came out.
Yeah.
I think they fixed that through updates at some point, but it was
They
a
did, but they
widespread
also
problem.
provided you with a nice $8 way to get around it, I guess.
They were
Sorry,
they were also trying to
They were
sell Mass
onboard
Effect
like new
3 to
people.
more people. Yeah, they tried to like sell that more as a wide-ranging shooter. That became like Mass Effect's. Hey, that became EA's like, hey, we are going to. This is going to become our shooter franchise,
Yeah,
and we're going to sell this to people who play Battlefield and stuff like that.
yeah. Honestly, okay. Yeah, let's then get into just Mass Effect 3 right now because that's a good point.
Yeah,
It's
so
insane
love Mass Effect
that
2.
Mass Effect 3 was like, yeah, this is going to be our big shooter game.
So I got Mass Effect 3. Same thing. I just went to the midnight release. I was so excited. And I brought it home, and it was just like it was bad. I just did not like Mass Effect 3. And like I know a lot of people complain about the ending, but for me, it was just I remember playing through it was this like just really disheartening experience of like, oh, none of the choices I made in the last game really mattered. You know, they just became like adding to the war score at the end of which is a gameplay mechanic I'm sure we'll get into when we get to Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. Less so than we would have initially because again,
Oh god.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect 3, okay.
Oh, and that was the thing. Like, I didn't get the best ending because I didn't play enough of the multiplayer. Even though I played the multiplayer, I didn't play enough to keep my war score up. So, like, I did not get the ending where Shepard turns out to be alive at the end.
Yeah, so you didn't like see him breathing for 5 seconds.
I didn't see him breathing for 5 seconds. I'm gonna be so curious to see the ending of this game again because it's not gonna be the ending that I played. It is going to be a different thing.
And they also like introduce. Yeah, this has a lot of onboarding things. That is like Freddie Prinze Jr. plays a very soldier character. Is the best way I can describe James Vega.
Yeah, I hated James Vega. The other thing that was crazy about I love Freddie Prinze Jr. though. The other thing that was crazy about it is I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind.
I'm more just no, the other thing that was crazy is they were like, yeah, you know this single player game, we're gonna intimately tie your progression system with a
To the
multiplayer
multiplayer.
element that nobody wanted.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm a huge defender of the multiplayer in that
Oh,
game.
no, it was really
I think it's a
fun.
lot of fun. But tying your single player progression was a very 2012 thing. Right?
Yes.
Like there was this time in games. I think they were really like just trying to push multiplayer in a big way because multiplayer is very successful and your game could be very successful if it had a very successful multiplayer. And for a while,
Yeah.
BioWare did multiplayer modes that I kind of liked. Between that and Dragon Age Inquisition, I actually kind of liked their multiplayer, but a lot of fans didn't. You know.
Yeah, a lot of fans were not. Honestly, I think with Dragon Age, it was the opposite problem, where they just marginalized it too much, where it was a pain in the ass to get to, and it was a little too disconnected.
Yeah, totally. I would have maybe liked to have been able to bring my character into because the Dragon Age Inquisition one was so much more involved in a lot of ways, and more tied to how your character played and stuff like that. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, but like I remember we played it for a while, you know.
Yeah, and now they're just not doing multiplayer.
No, it's not coming back, which I'm a little sad by, because I would have liked to have had a Mass Effect 3 multiplayer reunion with the people I used to play with, which was my friend Cody and you. So
yeah, that would have been fun, but look, I played Anthem, and I just don't think BioWare can make online games.
Yeah, no, it's probably. I think it's probably for the better when it comes right down to it. There's
also,
so much of it that feels of the time that you'd have to change to make it a better game to play now, you know?
Yeah, I also do wonder how much it would be like the Last of Us multiplayer, where it's just weirdos who liked the old one and can't play it anymore.
God, we played shortly before Last of Us 2 came out. We played through we played some of the Last of Us multiplayer, which there is still a community for, and it is definitely a time.
It's a community that I might want to explore with an alt account, but that would require too much money, so I'm never gonna do it.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be. You know what? That'll be when we're done with Mass Effect. If we want to keep the podcast going, we can insert you into the Last of Us online community to just as like, you know.
Yeah.
Remember, you'll be like Hunter S. Thompson joining the Hells Angels or something.
Absolutely. I'll go deep onto the Reddit boards. I'll learn all of the. I don't actually think that there's this deep of a community for The Last of Us. But yeah, Mass Effect 3, I just remember it being a game that had a ton of build-up. Like, ironically, a game from 2007, Modern Warfare, or Halo 3, for example. And if you don't know about this, like, they made a new flavor of Mountain Dew for Halo 3. Game
Still
Fuel
around.
comes from that.
Halo 3. No, Halo 3 was a big deal. I mean, Modern Warfare became a big deal, but prior to release was not a big deal. In the same way.
It was not.
You know?
But it did. I guess really Modern Warfare too. But Halo 3 was so powerful that it made the video game Crackdown popular enough to deserve 3 entries despite not being a good video game and not actually popular.
Yeah.
Because it came with a beta for Halo 3.
A beta for Halo 3.
And people wanted that goddamn beta.
People wanted to play Halo 3 like you wouldn't believe.
They were like,
I did not buy Crackdown for the Halo beta.
Oh, my older brother bought Crackdown for the Halo beta. I played all of Crackdown.
I wasn't gonna
I was the only one in my family.
I wasn't gonna waste $60 on that. I would just wait and pay the $60 for Halo 3.
I also think it was the thing of like we had no games and an Xbox 360.
That's true. Yeah. There were no games for the Xbox 360 until 2007.
Yeah.
When they all came out.
Which is very deeply funny.
So yeah. I feel like we're here. What?
Yeah, I forgot that the Xbox came out in 2005.
Yeah, 2006.
Xbox 360. Sorry.
So yeah, I think that pretty much gets us to where we had to go with this. You know, we've talked about our history with the series. Well, we've set the stage for what media was like, what world history was like.
We have. And
or American
getting
history.
into. I do remember the story of these games, though, and that's kind of the thing that I want to touch on a little, is the story is not often carried by the tone of each respective game. Sorry, not contiguous with the tone of each respective game. It's set up in one as, like, a mystery, and then maybe a threat against a giant, a fight against a giant, like, almost eldritch threat. Mass Effect 2 interprets that as, like, so we should have, like, bug people who are trying to make a Reaper out of people that looks like a person. And then Mass Effect 3 was like, no, you actually can't fight against them. They're just gonna destroy you. And the tone is now a lot more like Battlestar Galactica. And it was very weird.
So that's actually something I'd like to talk about a little bit. That's not about Mass Effect 3. Is I remember Mass Effect 3...
Yeah.
Like, while I don't remember, like, the message of the first two games, I remember the message of Mass Effect 3 becoming like, oh, this is about AI and art and like how we treat AI. This has always been about how we treat AI, and like
it becomes
being kind of like being surprised by that, you know.
It's one of those things where, looking back, I remember contemporaneously being someone who's very upset about the sudden shift to AI, but like looking back, no, there's hints and like pieces of it throughout.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, the big villains of these are giant robots, so made for people, so I shouldn't be shocked. I will say I think it is worth noting that the writer of the series changes.
Yes.
That in the beginning, the first game was written by Drew Karpyshyn. But I think he left during development of that to go work on The Old Republic, the Star Wars MMO that BioWare made. And either someone else took over or he co-wrote it with someone named Mac Walters, who then was the head writer for Mass Effect 3. So I don't know if that's because a different writer took over and had different ideas about what the series was supposed to be, or what.
I do detect like a distinct, at least in my memories, a difference in the writing, especially between 3 and the others.
Yes.
But
there's definitely a huge like style shift.
Yeah, but I think Casey Hudson was lead on all of them, or like
he was the like head director on them.
Yeah,
or producer. By the third one, he was. Let's see. I'm looking at these games now because we're so good at research. He was the director of the game. So, but that isn't just like directing the story, you know.
Oh no, I know. I was just saying. I do think that like that he was a consistent like creative presence makes me like curious as to why the story is as like underground as it seems to be for the first two entries.
Well, that's why I point to the writing is like as the reason for that is like the story. You're like the ultimate theme that I remember from Mass Effect 3 is definitely in the background in the world of Mass Effect 1 and 2, but doesn't feel as forefronted as it is in 3. Like in 3, it literally becomes all of this stuff that was sort of set dressing, like the alien race that we made that's basically a ripoff of Battlestar Galactica. They're actually indicative of what this entire series is about.
Yeah.
I think it is also worth noting that Casey Hudson led a lot of the games that are considered the golden age of BioWare. He started with MDK2, a beloved BioWare but odd BioWare entry, and did Baldur's and was like a director on Baldur's Gate 2. Or started there. I don't know if he was director looking at this now, but then was the director on my favorite BioWare game at this point, and that's The Old Republic. You know. Yeah,
and also, some level of involvement with Jade Empire, which is my favorite BioWare game to this day.
Yeah, it's a great choice.
Yeah,
I love BioWare. I love Jade Empire until we get to the BioWare twist of it. And
that part is terrible.
Yeah, I think I would. But there was definitely a time prior to Mass Effect coming out that I said Jade Empire was my favorite. BioWare game, definitely. I think more of my feelings are now. I just have a more it's like what Knights of the Old Republic represents, even more so than the game. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's the only Star Wars game that attempts to like make a Star Wars movie, which is a weird concept.
It is, right? Yeah.
I mean, mostly that no one else has done it. I was like, you could do it pretty easy, guys.
Yeah, no.
But I guess
I feel like that's why people, like, in a weird way, Star Wars has never gotten past Knights of the Old Republic. But that's a discussion for our Star Wars podcast. I'm sure we'll eventually record as we press on. When we finally choose a good Star Wars game for this premise.
No, when BioWare re-releases when Lucasfilm Arts or whatever releases remakes of the Knights of the Old Republic along with 3, that's when we'll do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, if that happens, this podcast is coming back, baby. It's not just Mass Effect then.
It's not just Mass Effect. Look.
I mean, we should probably say, since it's our first episode, we probably are going to do games after Mass Effect.
Yeah.
We're going to see how this goes. We don't want to commit to anything, but we've definitely talked about other game series we would love to do this premise on. We're probably not going to tackle games that don't try to have any sort of message. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess the thing is, we probably won't also tackle games that aren't, like, in some ways lengthy.
Yes. It's easier when there's a little more meat to the bones, as we found out with some of our test runs.
Yeah, look, I would have thought those bones had some meat on them, but they just didn't.
I would have too. It turned out we were wrong. But it was good for a test run. I mean, maybe in the way it was good that we did as a test run, as opposed to...
It was excellent. Like, we were going up to this patient with, like, our scalpels, and we were carving in, and it just cut right through because, oh no, it's paper.
Yeah.
We were just looking at a picture.
Yeah. Hopefully Mass Effect provides a little more meat. Otherwise, these are going to be some short episodes. I'm a little worried about that. We'll get there. We can always, if it ends up being an issue, we can always, like, condense some of our plans for the episodes. That might even be better, because then we can get through it a little bit faster.
Absolutely. But
we'll see.
I also worry that the exact reverse is going to happen with Mass Effect, where we're like, maybe looking back, it's not that much, and then it's, oh no, we need to do 3 episodes about these 5 Codex entries.
Totally. Oh god, we haven't even talked about whether we're gonna.
We haven't talked about the Codex entries.
I'm not even sure if I'm gonna read them. I don't know.
One.
I used to read them, but I just don't know if I can anymore.
I'm gonna listen to all of the ones that are voiced. I'm gonna skim all of the ones that aren't.
I feel like maybe we should, because I feel like in a lot of ways we're gonna find stuff to discuss there,
We'll find crazy things in there, I'm sure.
I'm curious. I still haven't figured out which version I should get for Mass Effect.
Oh yeah. I do think of Mass Effect as a profoundly console game, to be honest with you.
I guess. I think of it as an Xbox game, which I just don't have as an option.
Yeah.
It's always been. I know that there are PlayStation versions of it, because I remember when they came out, but like it was always Xbox first, I think, until Mass Effect 3, basically.
Well, it was, because Mass Effect 1 was originally an Xbox exclusive. Mass Effect 2, they had to wait because the PS3 was harder to develop for, and I don't think BioWare actually did it. I think it was a different company that they outsourced it to, and then or got help from, or whatever. And then Mass Effect 3 was the only, wide release, which also released on the Wii U, which I think is the real way to replay Mass Effect 3.
Probably. That's the version we need. That didn't come out until way later, though, I want to say. Right?
It then didn't have all of the DLC. I also don't think it had the extended cut.
That's crazy.
Or maybe it did, and maybe that was the only DLC.
I think it had to have at least that, but I don't know. This is probably something we should look into.
We should.
But we should save it for when we get to Mass Effect.
Okay, no. It did have the extended cut, but that is the only DLC it got.
Jesus.
Except for From the Ashes, but that's just, the regular thing.
That should have been in there anyway.
Yeah, and the interactive comic. It eventually got the interactive comic, which it needed.
Oh,
I'm guessing
God.
that's actually why they made the interactive comic.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because they did it again. Well, again, because I think they were worried that people's choices might not be able to carry over. So
yeah, they did
that was-
release it for other systems, but I'm sure they like made it with the Wii U in mind.
Yeah.
Looking at like the release of this stuff. And if the Wii U had been a bigger success, I'm sure it would have gotten the other games.
we never discussed. We need to real quickly discuss the cover of Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Absolutely. Actually, can I very quickly request that we take a break so I can use the bathroom?
That's a good idea. Keep recording, and we'll just. I need to use the
absolutely.
restroom as well.
Yeah, great. But no, I'm excited to go through these covers. There's something.
Yeah, it's a lot. We'll talk.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come right back to it.
Please enjoy the music.
Yeah, so let's start by talking about the original covers, which are not particularly great.
No.
Our first
They're-
one is obviously going for like a Drew Struzan style, like movie poster, which I kind of like because it gives the feel of science fiction, but it's not a particularly good one of those, you know.
No, it's a pretty bad one if I'm honest. I remember this being a good cover. I remember liking it, I
Yeah.
guess is what I should say.
I think because it is evocative of a science fiction movie, which is what Mass Effect at its best feels like. You're getting to play through a science fiction movie, you know.
Yeah. I do like the antagonist's head above the title. I think that's good.
Yeah, classic. It also looks a lot like Knights of the Old Republic's cover. Now that I'm looking at it,
I actually think it's identical to Knights of the Old Republic's cover.
I think it is exactly. Yeah, so maybe that's it. Maybe they want to be like, hey, so Mass Effect Knights of the Old Republic fans will know.
Yeah.
Second up is Mass Effect 2, which is even worse.
It's a close-in shot of Shepard, which when I say Shepard, I mean the Shepard for the marketing, not
Male
the
Shepard, yes.
Yeah, which is male
Generic
Shepard. It's
Shepard.
also the default Shepard, so it's like this guy with a buzz cut and just a grizzled face
Yes.
and a very square set jaw who's always got like a smoking gun. Everyone's got a smoking gun in this, actually.
Yeah,
There are
this
three
wants
other
you to know that
characters.
this is more of a shooter. Mass Effect
Yeah.
1 was like, this is a science fiction story. Mass Effect 2 is like, this is a shooter. You Halo fans are gonna love it.
You Gears of War fans are gonna love this game where you don't have a chainsaw bayonet.
Third up is
Yep.
Mass Effect 3, which kind of brings the two concepts together.
Yes,
Yeah.
I actually do want to. I want to say that like it's interesting to me that the first two games have like squad mates,
Yes.
and the last one doesn't.
It's just Shepard. This is also the game
Yes.
that had the reversible cover. So there was
Yeah.
a female Shepard cover you could use, which I believe I had on my I switched over. Not because I played male Shepard, but I wanted to show solidarity.
I have an embarrassing thing to say, which is I have the collector's edition, and that came with a steel tin thing, and it's just on one side it's male Shepard, on the other side it's female Shepard.
Wow.
Yeah, and they. I love that they like pretended that they hadn't had a default female Shepard and made this redhead.
No, it wasn't even that they pretended. They had a fan vote over it.
Oh,
Who's the new default.
right? I remember this. now.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All right.
And that's the design that won, huh? Okay.
That was the one that won. Look, the options were not. It wasn't
Good.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the Legendary Edition cover. I'm curious. I don't want to call it a theory, but it kind of feels that way on what they're going for with this. So I want to hear yours first. Like, what do you think is the intention here?
I mean, the intention from what I can see is to make it look like these are a holistic trilogy of games with like a cast of characters that you follow, as opposed to what it really is, which is in 1 you have a squad, in 2 that squad's mostly
betrays
gone,
you.
but you've got a
Yeah.
few. Yeah, you've got a few of them, and they're now with like new people, and those new people, they're going to be your best friends forever. And then in the third game, it's like, actually, it's mostly your old squad, this new human, this Prothean, and an AI lady.
I'm gonna drop some images into our
Yes.
chat, and when you see them, these are the things that
Please do.
I thought of the second I saw these. Here's the first one.
Oh!
Here's the
I can
second
see
one
that.
I thought of. So the first one I shared was one of the movie posters for Ant-Man and the Wasp, where you see the very Mass Effect looking helmets of the Ant-Man and Wasp character and the cast of the characters sort of overimposed over them. The second one I'm going to share is the movie poster for Avengers Endgame.
Oh, you think they're marveling it up?
I
yeah,
think
that
that
would
they
make
are.
sense.
I think
Or even just like the poster language of what a heroic thing has changed. It's
Totally.
now no longer Star Wars. It's Marvel.
Well, Mass Effect 1 was like Star Wars, and then like Mass Effect 2 and 3, it definitely is like those are like standard shooter covers to me.
Yes,
is when I see those. And now
those
this
are-
definitely seems like it is like Marvel is big. Let's try to appeal to that crowd a little bit.
Yeah,
But
Marvel is also a better pull than shooters ever were. Like shooters never made sense. Like, hey, here's this, for the time especially, like inclusive of your like, at least sexual preference
yeah.
for the most part. Except for two. That's why I never liked 2. Right. It has no same-sex romance options.
That's true. Doesn't it? I forget
Except
now.
for your girlfriend from the last game, who again betrayed you.
Yeah, all of them betrayed you. I don't like them. I never. That was my other problem with Mass Effect 3. Is like now I have to be friends with these guys again. They betrayed me. I mean, yes, I was hanging out with a bunch of white nationalists, maybe terrorists, maybe not good, but look, you know,
I mean,
nobody else was
definitely
on my
terrorists.
side.
Nobody else was on my side. The side that I declared when I arbitrarily was like, oh, well, no one else is giving me any options, and these guys just resurrected me, so I guess I'm fighting with white supremacist, human supremacist.
We should probably save this discussion for when we get to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, like, Marvel seems... I get the Marvel thing. Yeah, that's...
So
I
it
would-
makes sense from a marketing standpoint, but do you also think that there might be
Yeah.
more to it than that? Because at this point, after Mass Effect came out, after the trilogy finished, the series went dormant for a while, and then came back with Andromeda, which was very much a, hey, we don't want to touch the ending of Mass Effect, so we are doing like this side thing. And now we are going to see eventually... I mean, they basically said they're working on a Mass Effect 4. And I can imagine in a lot of ways that doing this Legendary Edition is them trying to look back on the series that was very successful and try to recapture that magic. Do you think that they're maybe trying to start to code this as, like, in the way that a lot of film franchises have become cinematic universes, we're getting a video game universe?
Are we... Oh, fuck, that's a... That is a scary thing to think about, honestly.
Well, it's like interesting because when you look at BioWare's other major series, Dragon Age, they seem so. There's every Dragon Age game is just a different style of RPG completely.
Every Dragon Age game is an insane prospect where they're like, okay, so we need to continue the main story of this setting, which involves the characters from the first game. But you need to be a new character with an entirely new story and entirely new, like, complications. And it should play different because everyone bitched about the last one. That is every Dragon Age game.
Yeah.
Including the first one, which is kind of, in some weird ways, a response to, like, people getting mad that they weren't making Baldur's Gate
I know.
3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's definitely like, so I don't know. I could see the argument of like maybe BioWare goes in a direction that is more akin to something like where Marvel has gone with the films. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, if like I always thought it was weird that they never did. Like one of my major beefs with Mass Effect 3 was that it ended the universe completely. You know?
Yeah.
Which was like, it's why I would never like run a tabletop role playing game, or if I did, it'd have to be before the events of Mass Effect 3 because like it just ends the universe at the end.
Yes.
But like, which never made sense. I don't know why you wouldn't have like this amazing world and universe that people like fell in love with. You know, why you wouldn't keep that going? So maybe this is their sort of attempt to shift towards if there is a Mass Effect 4, it has to take place before the end of Mass Effect 3, right? You know, like, or because like not even just like. Even with the world, not even just because the world ends, because you could tell a story after that. It's like because the endings that people picked would be so different, you know?
Yeah. There's also just, I can't imagine what the world is like after Mass Effect 3.
I've thought a lot about it, and would have loved to have seen, like, I have ideas for what you could do that with. Hey, BioWare, if you're listening, call me. My name is Rob. You can call me there.
Yeah,
I'm not putting my phone number on the internet.
If you want to call me, my number is.
Oh wow, what the beep that be? I can't believe you said that. Jesus.
I know, right?
Yeah.
See, I should have actually started saying numbers. My number is 774.
All right.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that is my theory on where maybe Mass Effect goes after this, and maybe why the poster is coded that way.
Yeah, I just don't know. I guess that's kind of the thing. I get why the poster would be coded that way, and I get, like, that they might want that, but I don't know if that's gonna happen with Mass Effect.
Yeah, I don't know how sustainable that is for Mass Effect. I mean, I feel like at this point, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to like do many attempts to try to bring Mass Effect back. You know, like it's been long enough since the last couple games.
Yeah, it's been long enough since Andromeda when we were all
so young,
so underwhelmed, so young. And Mass Effect 3. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that people will get to re-experience the ending of Mass Effect 3. And I look forward to people's new reactions.
I'm looking forward to my new reaction.
Yeah, me too, honestly, because
I'm curious, you know?
Look, I've got... it feels like a confession. I've almost changed my opinion about Ava, so, like...
Yeah,
maybe we love
maybe in 2021, Mass Effect 3 is, you don't get it, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe Mass Effect 3 finally works in 2021. We're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, now I understand.
Now Mass Effect 3 is genius, which is,
Maybe, like, I mean, really, there's a way to look at the way that Mass Effect 3 changes the conversation, where Mass Effect 1 and 2... are extremely problematic in how they present, like, the other, which is the, like, artificial intelligence, as just being sort of unilaterally bad. So maybe Mass Effect 3 is we've inherited this, like, weird sort of, you know, attitude. Maybe we gotta work on that.
Yeah, guys, we inherited, the attitude that you need to literally kill everything that isn't you.
Yeah. And we're trying to write a story that's not that. So we'll find out.
Yeah. But also we're gonna make you kill everything that isn't you.
But also
that's just
hey.
But also, hey, you know what's
I'm trying to go into this with as much of an open mind as I can.
I am too. I guess the thing for me is that ending. I just remember it not being good.
No,
I remember not liking the game.
I don't think I'll like the ending in any format because I think boiling down the experience to like a simple choice where no other choice affects that is always going to be dissatisfying.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can undo that,
yeah.
you know?
There's also there's now been years of the writers and everyone being like, you just didn't get our sci-fi ending. And I'm like, I get sci-fi shit, my dude.
Yeah.
You wrote a bad sci-fi ending.
This is the dissatisfying sci-fi ending.
Yeah.
If this had turned into Foundation... The thing is, like, the Mass Effect 4 I imagine that follows Mass Effect 3 is Foundation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh.
Like, them having to rebuild the galactic civilization after it has basically been destroyed.
Yeah. That could... See... Alright, but isn't that basically what you were doing in Andromeda?
Yeah, that was the thing, right? Like... But, like, also with, like, the weird sort of edge of colonialism to it, you know?
No, Andromeda was, boy, Andromeda.
Yeah. What if there was just an entire universe we could colonize and we don't have to worry about aliens being there? Wouldn't that be great? Man.
What if there were an entire universe and we don't have to worry about aliens being there? Most of us are aliens, by the way, and we don't actually care that much about aliens being there.
Yeah, aliens weirdly hate aliens the most in Mass Effect, an aspect that I am looking forward to revisiting.
Yeah. Look, they're Turians. I'm surprised that, like, the discussion wasn't, oh, so we're just gonna kill all of these other aliens.
What if you show up there late? What if that's what happened to Andromeda? It's like, oh, you've been gone for months. What have you guys been up to? Why aren't there any aliens here? I wonder about that. Don't worry about it, humans. We got everything under control.
About humans. You discover a Turian-like colony where they're using forced labor of the local populace.
Oh no.
The like people you think are initially the villains, they're like, no, we're freedom fighters trying to rid this galaxy of you, the terrible Turian menace.
Alright, I'm starving. I gotta go make myself something to eat. This is a good episode 0. We got a lot more out of this than I thought. I thought this would be a quick one, but it wasn't, and that's good. I think we tried ending this 3 times. We should actually end this episode.
We should absolutely actually end this
before we get to 2 hours. Alright.
Stay tuned for more. Oh god, there's gonna be like a 3-hour episode of this fucking podcast.
Oh god, there is. Stay tuned for our 3-hour podcast. Hopefully it's not episode 1. We'll see.
Hopefully it's not episode. It's gonna be episode 1, guys.
Yeah. All right, great. I'm gonna stop recording.
Me too. This has been B.
This has been Rob. Thanks for listening to this episode of Mass Reflect. If you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it, please rate and review us on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. I'm sure we'll be up on a couple of them. People say that's a good idea. I think we're also going to be up on YouTube. So yeah, if you can, please rate, review, subscribe. And just tell your friends about it, you know? This is meant to be a good time. Maybe you have a Mass Effect friend, a Mass Effect fan as a friend. Or, you know, maybe you have friends in Mass Effect. I don't know. What you can't hear is B is laughing at me while I record this, and it's making me laugh, and no, but I'm enjoying it. So if you can, please rate and review us, and we'll be back soon with another episode. Thank you.